Hey y'all, it's Amanda from Recipes Worth Repeating, and today I'm going to show you how easy it is to make dehydrated cinnamon apples. And all you need is a dehydrator and 6 simple ingredients that you probably already have in your kitchen. So let's get started. So let's take a minute and talk about the different types of apples that you can use for dehydrating apples. I really like using Honeycrisp apples when dehydrating. They're full of flavor, they're big, they're crispy, they're one of my favorites for dehydrating. But I've also successfully used Gala and Pink Lady. Now, if we take a look at these apples, these are just regular apples and they're not perfect. They have, little bites in them and little slices. It's totally okay. Some people are very picky about the apples that they use for dehydrating. So if you're one of those people where you need a perfect apple, then use an organic apple and then peel it. Apples are the #1 fruit for pesticide spraying. So make sure if you're leaving the peelings on, you wash your apples thoroughly to make sure that they're nice and clean. Personally, I love dehydrated apples with the peelings on, but my son, he likes the peelings off. So I kind of mix it up just a little bit and I'll leave the peelings on for mine and then peel his. It's totally up to you. Some people also will use a mandolin to slice the apples. Again, for this recipe, you don't have to have any special tools. Today, I do have an apple core, only because it makes my life just a little bit easier. But really all you need is a knife, a cutting board, some apples, and a colander. If you have an apple core, let me show you how easy it is to use on these apples. I had this little tool for years and I had no idea how to use it until I went to make these dehydrated apples. It's kind of like a saw. It has these little ridges on the ends. And what you do is you easily insert it into the apple where the stem is. You apply a little bit of pressure and then you kind of turn in a back and forth motion and press down. And what that does is it takes you all the way to the bottom of the apple, and then you, again, turning slightly, you use the tool and pull it up, and then what it does is it just pulls out the core super easily. I like to leave the peelings on because I like the texture, I like the flavor, and that's where a lot of the nutrients are. However, like I said, my son doesn't like that. So what I typically do is I'll grab a vegetable peeler, or you can use a paring knife, and you just want to peel the peeling until it's been removed. So once you've removed the peelings, you can go ahead and start slicing your apple. It's okay if you leave a little bit of the peelings on, it doesn't matter. Again, you're gonna go ahead and take a sharp knife. If you don't have a mandolin, you can definitely use a mandolin if you have one, but I like to take it old school, so I'm gonna go ahead and slice my apples with a knife. Again, about 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch in thickness. And then once you're finished slicing your apples, you're gonna place them in a colander. And this is important because you're gonna run water over the apples, and that's gonna help that cinnamon sugar sauce really stick to those apples. While you're cutting, you don't have to have rings. You can actually cut these apples into pieces so that you have dehydrated apple pieces. Totally up to you. I know some people who also have a tool that spirals the apples and they'll dehydrate the spiral. So again, totally up to you and what you want to do with your dehydrated apples. Let's go ahead and make the cinnamon sugar sauce for your dehydrated apples. The first thing you want to start with is 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. You want to place that in a small bowl. Next, you want to add a 1/2 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. This is going to give you that fall-like flavor in the apples. Next is going to be 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. Next, you're going to put in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now, I'm the queen of kitchen gadgets. You can definitely take a lemon and just squeeze it with your hands into the bowl, but I really like to get all of the juice out so that I can make it the consistency more liquidy when I'm doing the sauce. So if you have a citrus press, go ahead and use that and ensure none of the seeds are in the bowl, and just squeeze the juice of 1 lemon into your bowl of sugar and spice. Take a wire whisk and whisk all of the ingredients together. Notice that the top of your sauce is going to be a little powdery, and that's totally okay. That's just how the cinnamon and the nutmeg react with the lemon juice. After you've sliced the apples and you've made your cinnamon sugar sauce, take a gallon-size plastic bag and place in your apple slices and apple pieces. Now, I know a lot of people don't like to use plastic bags. It's really important to use a plastic bag in this recipe because you need to be able to get the sauce onto each apple slice. And if you use a Tupperware or a glass jar, it doesn't move around that well. Go ahead and add the cinnamon sugar sauce to the bag. Seal the bag, get the air out, and then you're literally going to shake the apples in the bag with the sauce, ensuring that you're moving them all around so each apple slice gets penetrated with the cinnamon sugar sauce. These are going to cook at 135 degrees Fahrenheit in your dehydrator for 12 hours. Let's talk about some of the expert tips that you need in order to make a successful batch of dehydrated apples. What I like to do is after dinner, I get a batch started, I put them in the dehydrator, I go to sleep, and then I wake up in the morning and they're ready. So you don't have to worry about keeping an eye on these or babysitting these in the dehydrator. The dehydrator does all the work, and when you wake up in the morning, they're gonna be ready to go waiting on you. When you get them out of the dehydrator, they're not gonna be hot, but they are gonna be a little warm. So what I like to do is to take each dehydrated apple and place them on a cooling rack. And I like to place them side by side, making sure that they're not overlapping so that they have time to finish getting to the consistency that they need to, which is gonna be a little chewy and a little pliable, and they can come to room temperature. Even though I used a cinnamon sugar sauce, you can dehydrate apples plain. And so I did a couple of these with a cinnamon sugar sauce and some with just a plain apple, and they're both delicious. You don't have to do separate batches when you're dehydrating those, just pop them in there together. Once your apples have completely cooled, you're ready to store them. And I like to use these handy dandy little storage containers that are airtight. So you'll place the apples in the storage container and make sure that they're sealed so that they are airtight. These will last in your pantry for about 6 months. These dehydrated apples make the most amazing gifts for teachers, preschool teachers, or even your friends. What I like to do is pick up a cute little jar at the store, then add in my apples, put on the lid, and then just take a simple little ribbon and just wrap it around your jar, tie a pretty little bow, and they will love this gift from you. You guys are going to enjoy these dehydrated apples no matter how you make them with the peelings on, whether you use a mandolin, whether you use a knife. They are absolutely delicious, and I can promise you they are not going to last very long in your